Hi everybody, welcome back to our art journaling experience. Sorry if I'm a little bit late, but I actually lost my journal. Oh, that's just typical of this house. It really is. I found it again anyway, here it is. And what I wanted to say to you was there's a fair bit of drying going on here with sticking things on with gesso and whatever, and there's a fair bit of drying. So I thought I'd use the time. Actually, I meant to give Mr. Fix-It the dryer, but never mind. Whilst Mr. Fix-It's out of the room drying that I would start on a new journal. That is not the start of a new journal, it's an old. In fact, let's tear that out. We can stamp on that later. It's from Sainsbury's, apparently. I have no memory of buying it, and I don't even know what it measures. I'd say 9 by 9. It's a very thick card, so I'm going to see if it stands up to the whole scrapbooking art journaling experience. So just while that's being dried, I'm just going to start on this one. I think I'll use the same idea and do fashion. So I've got fashion in my head at the moment. I'm thinking fashion all the time, which is so unlikely. Hiya, Karen.
LOL, what you like, it's all that stuff.
I know. Karen, where do you live? I don't know. I can't visualise you living anywhere. You're like a free spirit that lives everywhere. Anyway, that's by the by. So that's that. So for today, we are actually going to be sticking stuff in, which is, a great advancement. The things that I will be using today, not necessarily the things that you need to use what you've got. I'll be using Mod Podge. I'll be possibly using a Pritt stick. Probably using gloss gel. Now, if I had matte gel, I would be using matte gel, but I haven't got any. I've got gloss gel. Any brand at all will do. This is a bit expensive, I think, for scrapbooking, art journaling, but it's what I've got, and I doubt I'd use it up anyway in something else because I'm not fond of gloss particularly. I will also be using white gesso. This is Golden brand and it's expensive. It would not be my choice of gessos for art journaling. I'm using this until Paula from Shabby Chic, Paula from Fairy Chic even, Fairy Chic Emporium, is going to do an art range, tubes of paints that we can buy, and other sundries, let's call them, one of which will be gesso. And so I don't want to go and buy another new pot of gesso. I'd rather wait till Paula gets hers sorted out. So, if you want to keep checking on progress, it's verychicemporium.co.uk and go and have a look at what she's got in her shop. You'll love it anyway, even if she hasn't got gesso. And this here is a transparent gesso. It's PVO, so it's not the most expensive. So that's perfect for what we want today. I've also got out of the drawer modelling paste. I don't think I'll be using it today, but you can never tell what mood you might get into. So this is Winsor & Newton Galleria modelling paste, middle of the range sort of stuff. It's just for giving textures to your background. I've also got out some napkins from my vast napkin supply. This was at the first delve, so they might not be perfect, but I don't want to get everything out. It's just too much altogether. So another thing that I've done that might interest you is, you remember me telling you that an art journal has to have space in it for people to journal into, for people to write what their thoughts are or what they're feeling or what they had for dinner, whatever. So I had these cards that came in a pack from Derwent with some coloured pencils or something. I've never used them. They were of no interest to me really. But then I thought, I can make this a journaling space. You see, it's got some paint on it, so I am going to have to stamp in the corners or something to take away from that mucky mark. But I pulled the envelope apart, I stamped it on my jelly plate. I didn't stamp this bit because that's the bit that's going to be stuck down. Then I got the hole punch out. Well, I got this circular stamp out actually, and cut 2 circles in card. Then got the hole punch out. I didn't have any circle things, eyelets that matched the orange, but you know, hey ho. So now we've got somewhere nice for people to journal in. I stuck the envelope back together, as you can see, and then when I was putting the eyelets in, I'm saying you all know it's not me, don't you? You know it was Mr. Fixer that did this. He attached this string in through the eyelet, so it just fastens quite easily like that. You just go round and round. The more you use it, actually, the better it gets. So that's it closed, and then you just undo it to open it. That'll be stuck down, so you've got some space to go journaling in. Excellent.
Karen says she's homeless. Ho ho ho. But she lives in Tittensaw, which is in Snow-Content, Staffordshire.
All right. Okay.
She says, wow, all those products, I need more money.
I know, that is it is the truth, I'm afraid. If you're starting out from scratch for this, it's really a dear do, to be honest. I'm just hoping that most of you have, through your life, have collected bits of card, bits of paper stock, card stock, you know, a set of watercolour paints, bit of Mod Podge. I don't know, we all seem, or is it just me? I just seem to collect this stuff. I can't let a bargain go past, and Mr. Fix-It's exactly the same. So, you know, we've ended up with a house full of this stuff. So I'm really glad of the to get to use it, the chance to use it. Right, so I've printed some things out. I did this on the inkjet, so I imagine that this might run a little bit. Doesn't matter if it does. And these, they're going to go, I'm not sure if they're all going to fit actually on this little journal that I've got, but they might go on the new one I showed you. I printed this one out first, but that is a ridiculously large shoe. So I went back and made it smaller. I've transferred, you've all seen me do this before, using Surreal transfer paper. And I've transferred this lady in a nice vintage dress and that shoe. And really all I searched for there for this was home dressmaking pattern vintage. And there are so many of them come up, you'd be absolutely spoilt for choice. So the other thing to show you is that I carried on last night after the cameras were off doing some jelly plate printing. So I thought I just hadn't mastered it in my head what was going on. Yeah, that's the actual image there. You can see it's a Vogue pattern. Really nice, the dressmaking patterns, I think. They've got nice lines on them because they want you to see how the panels have been put together. So some of these are more successful than others. This, although it looks unsuccessful, has got some lovely passages in it. So I'll just go through them fairly quickly. You can see what we've got. That's nice, I like that. I think you were with me when we did that. That was the kitchen towel. That's a nice one. Now, Dorothy Smith, are you watching? The funny thing about Dorothy is she messaged me last night and said, are you going to be on every day then? Like, oh my God, are you going to be on every day then? So I said, well, I think EastEnders is on every day and that seems to work all right. But honestly, I have no idea. I mean, maybe when I've come to the end of this fashion journal page, which might be today, tomorrow, or who knows when, you know, we'll have a break for a bit and then gather our resources together again. But the other thing Dorothy said was, why don't you just use a stencil? And this is a perfect example of why you don't just use a stencil. With a stencil, it's either the masked part or the stencil part. There's no kind of in between. Whereas here, we put the stencil down, we pulled a print, put the stencil down, pulled it again, moved the stencil off and pulled it again. And you get these bits that are just, they've hung on, there's still, you know, some ghostly image there. but that's pretty good jelly plate printing. Actually, I doubt you'll be able to see it, but there's still also some lines there from another stencil we put down, the Harlequin one, and here there's texture over there. So, I mean, to me, that's pretty good. That's what we're aiming for. Something that's kind of arty. That's what we are. This one's got loads of colour in, but lots of nice texture. This one, Mr. Fix-It was having a play about, and he came up with this, which is pretty. And he also came up with this, which is probably my favourite piece of yesterday's whole printing. I just love that. I just really love it. And this one, once you start getting into darks, you've really got to be careful because it can go quite too dark very quickly. Another nice one there. This is just me rolling off my brayer, but actually there's some really nice pieces in there that I might just use. Once again, that circle stencil, which is the one that Mr. Fix-It cut. So he's done well with that. We use that a lot, and I like it. These are some leaves. Well, I don't think they are leaves. It's an evergreen in the garden. I guess the leaves are just like pine sort of things that we pulled. It wasn't altogether successful. I tried chalk paint. I've only got 2 colours in chalk paint, so it wasn't the biggest exercise in the world. But the problem was, it did do it. It definitely did do it. And I think it would be all right for something like this. But once I started trying to pull prints of this, it was just a little bit too thick to get down into all the parts, and it dries so quickly. You've got to be really, really quick. This was an artificial flower leaf that we, I mean, you know, it's nice. There's no point talking about all of them because I haven't got time. Some nice passages on there, really nice on there. That's another card that I've done with the intention of painting the lady. I think on that was my idea. Bit of a mess. That needs another coat on top of it. That's really quite pretty. That, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see that. That's quite nice. These are quite nice. That's just gone to mud. There's nothing to be salvaged from that. And this, which is very sharp. Don't know how arty it is. It's just a stencil over a, you know, but it's certainly nice. That's a nice textures. And some leaves, right? Okay. So we probably need to sort out what it is exactly that we're going to put on this background of our sketchbook. Right, I'm going to take the label off it. It is now no longer new. Yikes. I think that's probably the first, I'm sure that's the same paper as this, so that's our first spread. So we need to have a little look really at what size we've got to play with. I want them basically, I think, in sort of beiges, ochres, that sort of colour. So let's just pull out, let's have a look at this book that, this is the book I was rolling off onto last night, if you remember. And I think there's probably some nice bits in here. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Right, so I think we can probably get going with a bit. Let's just sort out all the ochres and oranges and whatever that we've got and put the others aside. Save having to go through them every single time. You know, it's a tiny little scrapbook, this, guys. You know, we haven't got room. We haven't got room for all of this. We need to be doing about heaven knows how many pages to get these all used up. But, you know, put them in a box file or something like that. They'll come around. You will have your signature colour. Mine probably is tealy turquoisey colours. I love them.
Karen says you can tell which your favourite colour is.
Yeah, well, I was trying to do quite a lot of sort of the ochres, really, but I do love the teal turquoisey colours. That's quite nice. So, Karen, did you find out what time it was in America? You were looking for time because one of your friends wanted to join in. Could you just pop those somewhere, please? Thank you. So it's time to get tearing. Let's go for this deli paper, sandwich paper. Let's go for it first. I like that one on the top. Yeah. So just tear into it. You don't want the edge on it particularly. I'll tear quite a large piece out and then see if we can use it in a couple of places. Could you pass my bin over, please?
Tidying up as you go.
Tidying up as I go.
First.
It is a first. You're quite right. So actually, that's, you know, a nice piece to go there. But let's not stick them down until we've got a bit of a better idea. You know, that might very well end up going there. But I'm sorry, guys. I'm really shaky today. I did have my anti-shaking medication, but obviously hasn't kicked in yet. Yeah, perhaps this one. This is nice. So just building a background up. I do really want to put my envelope over this side, but I'm going to have a background to put it on, I think. I wish that would stay down. That would make my life so much easier. There we are. It's going to have to go there, I think. I'm just wondering if this is just altogether too large. I might have to put it on my other scrapbook.
Probably do one of the smaller ones.
Yeah.
The brown ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll leave that out just now, just like it doesn't. Just pretend you ever saw it.
Karen says purple for me.
Yeah, purple's nice. I love purple, lime and teal. Love those colours together.
And she says one of the ladies says it's 10 a.m.
All right.
in Central Time.
Yeah, Sharon, I think, might probably have been able to tell us that.
Yeah, Sharon's just said it's 10 a.m. Central Zone.
Thanks, Sharon.
Karen says she noticed the shaky hand. She just thought you were leaning on a nerve.
No, I just have a shaky illness. It's nothing quite as exciting as alcohol. It's just I do shake, so. Now I'm wondering about my decoupage napkins here, and it's very much this sort of colour that we've got going on, and that's a very nice edge down there. Actually, oh well, it's in the centre, but it looks like an edge. So I'm wondering, I don't want the balloon in at all. But I'm wondering if we could put that in down that edge. I think we could, and I think it would look very nice. So there we go. We're off and running.
Is there anything I can do with that?
No, we'll do that next time. Mr. Fixer's just found a really nice, nice little small brown envelope that we can do. I'll get that stamped up, or what do you call it, jellied up. Right, so that's enough of that. I'm actually going to cut that. It's very seldom that I actually cut anything when it's going in something like this, but I do like that straight edge there. Hello, Carol. How are you doing today?
Carol says you do amazing art for a shaker.
Well, I've got tablets actually that stop me shaking quite so much, and I usually take them about 20 minutes before we come on, and I never think it's that bad. But it was about 5 minutes, and then I lost my journal, and so there's a bit of a flap going on. So I'm sure that during the course of the live, I'll stop shaking quite so much. So we need to split this into 3 layers. We just want the top one. I just shook just at the right time. That's going to look pretty, isn't it? It's going to look pretty. I'm going to throw that away. Live like there's no tomorrow. Right, Mod Podge and a brush. A brush that I don't really like. Yeah, one at the kitchen, please.
3/4?
Yeah, 3/4 would be good. I think that's going to be a nice start, Do you think I should stick anything on before I put that in? I mean, that might look quite nice. Thanks, my dear. That might look quite nice there, mightn't it? What about this? What those yellows in there? Well, I think that's quite nice, really. Yeah, I like that. So we'll start with this piece then. So I'm using Mod Podge. You can use anything you like, really. Yeah. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, use gel, medium, whatever you've got.
Carol says hello. She's been on hold with blooming parties for the last hour. So only just made it.
Banks, my life. The system of answering calls is really not good. Mind you, there's a fair few companies around like that. So here we go, sticking number 1 in our book.
No, but you'd think with them closing all the branches, they might get actually better at answering the phone.
Yeah. No way. So that's stuck on. I can't see any wrinkles on it. If there's wrinkles on yours, don't worry. Just don't worry. It's just part of it. And it's texture, and, it'll come into its own further down the line. So don't worry about wrinkles. When we come to put the decoupage on, if it wrinkles, well, it wrinkles. Not the end of the world. Sometimes we put modelling paste on just so we can get texture. So if your decoupage wrinkles, great. You've saved yourself some modelling paste. I was going to hope to show you how to use watercolours today. obviously if I don't stop shaking, that's off the agenda because that would just be totally ridiculous. But, you know, can you shout out if you'd like to know how to use watercolours? Because if you're all really proficient in it, then there's no point watching me doing it, is there?
And she likes a bit of wrinkle effect.
Yeah, a bit of wrinkle. A bit of wrinkle, you can't beat it. I forgot where this was going to go now, down there. Yeah, hope for all the old wrinklies out there, myself included. Actually, once you get going with this sort of thing, it doesn't have to go quickly. Got another blooming cat hair in here.
Oh, we'll be painting over it at some point.
Yeah, well, there is in there. So this is our next bit.
Personalised by shading.
Yeah. So I'm just going to paint the page in this instance with Mod Podge. It's quite thick, that Mod Podge, actually. I think generally I would water it down a little bit. It's too thick.
Carol says it's worse when you're calling the banks from abroad.
Oh,
it is.
God, I bet it is.
Karen says yes, please, she'd like to see watercolour.
Okay, Karen. Right, so let's just put a bit of tension on this and put it down. Spread it out as we go, because for all we don't mind wrinkles. It's nice if you don't get any, just for your own preservation. I've got some. I can live with that. Just a coat of Mod Podge over the top. This is thick as thick can be.
Carol says, have you seen my watercolour proficiency?
No.
Totally inefficient.
Oh, I'm sure that's not true.
Effective.
I'm sure that's not true. Basically, who are you doing it to please? Anyway, you enjoyed doing it. Excellent. You've achieved what you wanted. But I'll show you. If I stop shaking, if I don't, I can't. Because really it would just be ridiculous. Right, I think that's probably quite stuck on. I don't want it to be stuck to the page. Yeah, that's all right. We'll leave that to dry, and then the edge will knock off quite readily, I think. Now I need my lady that I'm going to show you how to watercolour. But where did she go? Here. Here she is.
Original.
Yeah, I just want to see where we can put her, really. I'm going to put her on a bit of card, watercolour paper actually it is. Unlike me to have the right thing for the job. All this stuff that I've got now, I invariably end up with not the right thing. But on this occasion, I have got a pad of watercolour paper and I am going to do her on watercolour card. And I'd quite like to put her, seeing as we're not having the envelope over here now, maybe there, or do you think there? I think there, actually. I'm beginning to like how this is building up. What do you think, Mr. Fixer?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's it?
You're going to save room for the envelope?
Well, it can go there, can't it?
Yeah.
It can go on top once we've got everything done. Yeah. So, right, that's her. So we just need something else, another bit of texture over here. I've got this shoe that I could put in as well. This is what we're going to, fashion changes, but style endures. And I'd like to say, of course it does, look at my style. 2 pages identical there. Well, I've got balloons here, but I'm not really a balloon sort of person. I have got a rose there, which I think it's the right sort of colour, I think. I've got another one that's even more the right sort of colour. How come when you put things on this table, they just bloody disappear?
This one, is it?
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you. That is the one. So I'm just wondering about, this is one of these ones that goes round like that, and they're great for stool tops and tabletops and stuff, but I don't do that sort of thing anymore. So I'm just wondering if that would look quite nice there. And actually, I think it would. So I just need a bit of Perspex or something. Mr. Fix-It nearly fell over at that stage because he didn't think that that was ever going to happen. Did you? That I would be that organised.
It happens.
On occasion.
Even a broken clock's right twice a day.
Give over. Right, so I need a brush and some water. Some sort of brush that I don't use for acrylics. That's not a good one, but it's not a bad one either. That looks like a pretty jiggered up angle shader, that'll do. Right, so which ones am I going to use? Well, let's cut all of this one out and then see what we're going to use out of it. So I told you it was a jiggered up brush. It's too jiggered. Yeah, where are they?
You had them all over there, but I can try to find one.
No, I think they're all where are they? No, it doesn't matter. I'll use this little water brush here.
Got one here.
Oh, good. Just going to fill it up with some water for me. I'm seriously shaking today. Madness. These buttons will look nice as well. It's so little. Our journal. That's should have chosen something much bigger, gigantic. Yeah, thank you.
You want to explain about it?
Yeah, if you haven't seen these before, lots of companies make them. I don't know who made this one, but most of mine are by Derwent, the people that make all the pencils of various types. You literally unscrew the top where the brush is and where this green bit is, fill it up with water, then you push on that bit there, the water comes through, and it's great for when you're doing watercolours, or if you're using pencils that are watercolour pencils, Inktense or the like. But for us cutting out round here, it'll be just the job. Got quite a bit of water on there, so I'm just going to be a bit careful. Sure, you all know how to do this. The water makes the tissue weaken, of course, and then you can just pull it apart. You can fussy cut if you want to, and you might actually end up with a nicer, certainly for furniture, if this is going on furniture, I'd fussy cut it every day of the week. But it's not, and it's going to have gesso and heaven knows what stuck over it. So most of that, the tissue that's on the outside of it, will actually fade into the background anyway. So, you know, I'm not fussy cutting it because it doesn't need to be. And this does a really quick job of cutting it out for you. So there you are, we've got our image. Let's see what it looks like on our page. This is drying quite nicely now. So I think I'll just put that there. I don't think I need. Oh, it's a puzzle, isn't it? That's the edge of the page there. But I'd quite like that sitting at the sort of confluence of this. So I might just leave it like that. I'm not too sure about all these up here. I think they might be too much. If I just cut it off about there, how would that look? Yeah, I like that better, I think. So I'll just chop those off with my water brush. Whoop. I squeezed it and loads came out. I'm going to cut that one off as well. That's fine. I mean, don't worry about little bits and pieces because, as I say, there's going to be, I think I want to dip this brush into water and there's no need. There's going to be gesso and all sorts of things going on top of it. So are you all going to have a go at art journaling then? Or are you going to wait and see how this turns out before you commit yourselves? I think Karen's going to have a go. She had a massive shopping list last night. Every time she came back on, she'd ordered something else, which is excellent. I like to hear of such ventures. I think that's brilliant. I'm just cutting the edge off because I don't want a straight edge on here. So that's great. Let's get rid of all that. Now it's going to be a bit awkward, I think, getting these separated. And I saw somebody the other day do a really good trick. They got some masking tape. I hope this works and doesn't tear my deck apart. They got some masking tape and they put it on and then they pulled it. Yay! Looky, looky. So I'd just like you to know this is not my idea. I saw somebody else doing it. I can't get this one off now. I can't. I'm still fix it.
I'm still on.
But I thought it was a pretty good idea, pretty neat idea. But I can't work out how you get there. Oh, Mr. Fix-It's away with it though, I think. So do we need to stick anything down there then before we put that rose on? Or are we just going to paint? Thank you so much. It's a good idea, isn't it?
It's a good idea.
No, I saw it the other day and I thought I must remember that.
And you did.
Staggeringly, I did. Yeah, that's good. I like that not going any further up than that. What do you guys think? Come on, vote. Quick, quick, quick. Is it all right? Is it all wrong?
Well, they definitely voted for the lady on the left earlier.
Oh, did they? Oh, that's good.
So,
That's excellent to hear.
at least on that basis, then you're doing right.
I think that's quite nice, actually. You know, you might know I'd turn it into flowers. Wouldn't you? Really. Mr. Fix-It, could you do me a favour, please?
Yes.
Could you put some of that Mod Podge out into something and put some water in through it? About 50-50 probably. It's just really, really thick. So that'll give us the opportunity to work out what we're going to put onto here. Now over here I've got some tissue that I dyed. Remember last night I was telling you how I dyed tissue? The two plain layers, you know, when you pull the nice printed layer off your serviette, you're left with the plain layers. Or you can buy some plain layers, plain serviettes, and and use those, then you'll have 3 layers. So what I intend doing is sort of forming a bit of crunchiness. So I'm just going to tear a bit off there. Get some nice crunchy texture going on. It might be that all this stuff gets gessoed out or not. Who knows? Who knows what happens? I've got all sorts of things that I could put on. Thanks so much. It's just so thick.
Do you like him?
Yeah, that's lovely.
Put it on top of that.
That's grand. Right, I'll put my rose on now then. That's gonna just use up what's on that brush, but go back to my other brush. Yeah. We've actually got the fire on here today because it's just so miserable, and because there's so much moisture around, it really just makes you feel cold. But because the fire's on, it's like blooming boiling. We don't have any heating apart from the central heating from the fire. So if we want any heat at all, we have to put the fire on. And it's on and it's boiling. Yeah, that's right. I must remember when I'm putting things down on there that lady is going to go on that side. I probably need to make a background for her. Got some serious wrinkles going on here. Probably need to make a background for her that's not too demanding because she's going on top. All that fuss yesterday, all that jelly plate printing, and I'm back to what I love. I'm back to flowers. Makes you wonder why I bothered with a blooming jelly plate. I think they're stuck on quite well, and you can see the the bits around it, the tissue around it that we've torn rather than fussy cut. But don't worry about those; they're going. Don't worry. Right, so this tissue here, I really do want to make a texture out of it, because then it'll show up lovely once we've gessoed it. But I have to remember that my lady is going there. My lady. So I want her over to that side, I think. So I'll try and put the texture down this side. Once again, we're in with the Mod Podge. I'm just going to put a line down there. I'm going to stick this down. So this time you're actively looking for wrinkles. You really want it to wrinkle and crinkle and give us some texture. I can't believe that's dry already. It's ridiculous. And there, I've put my finger through it. Don't worry about that. It's the texture we want, really, more than anything. Actually, that texture is nice. Hope you can see it. Just flatten it down onto the page with some of that Mod Podge that Mr. Fix-It sorted out for me. I think, is this 50-50 now, would you say?
2/3 Mod Podge, 1/3 water.
Right. And I personally would say that's about right. Now, whether that's just because it's warm in here today or not, I've no idea. That's just tearing off there at the bottom of the page because this bit's damp. So let's put some more Mod Podge on.
Georgia P says hello.
Hello, Georgia.
She was asking what kind of art do you prefer above everything else?
It kind of depends on what I'm doing at the time, because I really enjoy it, you know. Having said that, well, I love pasteling. I love it. Yeah, I really do love pasteling. I do really, really love highly, highly detailed acrylic work. I mean, I love doing this because it's like a sort of
therapy.
Yeah, it's you can't go wrong with this. That's the thing. You know, if you're painting an eagle and you make him cross-eyed or whatever, he's cross-eyed. You've done something wrong. Whereas this, there is no wrong. That'll show you how warm it is in here. This Mod Podge is just drying up. What's your favourite, Georgia? What's anyone's favourite? That's a really good question. Who's on? Susan, you on? Sharon? Dorothy, anybody? Help us out with this. What's your favourite style or media or whatever in painting? In, well, art, as Georgia put it very succinctly and correctly. It takes a lot to beat pasteling, I would say, when I'm really in the zone. I love it. But I can't seem to get you lot mad about it, so I'm having to keep it for my own pleasure. Can you lot see I don't think you can see the texture on here. Let's see if I can lift this up and show you. Can you see all that yummy texture? And it's like your worst ever day decoupaging. Isn't it? That's exactly what it is. So she's going to go on there. She's not necessarily going to have a blue background. I was just trying things out with her. So I'd say we probably need something else stuck up there. Stuck to me.
Sharon says she likes mixed media.
You like mixed media? Which mix? Oh, that's, you know, because you can do pastels and acrylics together. You can do oils and acrylics together, actually.
Well, this is the ultimate.
This is mixed media gone mad. Right, I'm going to stick some lace down there. Some actual lace. And like everything else, I've got so much blooming lace, you wouldn't believe it. So it's just a question of which one I quite like. I quite like that one. Might actually have to stick some more of my tissue in there. It will be painted, I'm sure, but just in case, let's just stick a little bit in there. Won't do any harm. Now, the last time I tried to stick this lace down, Mod Podge wasn't strong enough for it. So I've got some glue that I think is strong enough for it now. If you missed all of you must know how to dye napkins, but a good, quick and easy, pain-free, wallet-wise way is go to the pound shop, you know, whatever your local equivalent is, buy a set of kiddies felt tip pens, snap them, take that filament out of the middle, that furry stuff out the middle, drop it in some cold water, leave it for, you know, as long as you want to, and then when you go back, you'll have water that is the colour of that felt tip pen. They're usually £1 for 10 or something like that, because they don't really last very long as felt tip pens. And then you've got all that. So then you get your blank decoupage tissue paper, drop it in, pick it up so carefully because it really, really is flimsy in the extreme. It has no resistance to anything. So pick it up carefully, and we hang ours over a sort of washing line thing. And then when you want it, for things like this, you've got it.
Karen says she does detailed glitter glasses. She was doing decoupage.
Yeah.
I haven't really tried painting and pastels and watercolours.
Stick with me, girl. Stick with me.
Carol says she likes things she can play with.
Oh, you should like this
but not
then.
have to focus on detail as much as they do all sorts of things.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? So where's my lady going to come out to? How far is she going to come?
She used to be making dough craft ornaments and fun things.
I think if it stops being, it's a bit like gambling. When it stops being fun, stop. Because why would you buy yourself a load of pain? You know, everything's expensive, everything's time consuming. And the reason that we should be doing it is because we're going to feel good about ourselves. It's just going to be enjoyable and a pleasurable experience. I know when not so much on the live because, you know, I have a different job to perform then. I'm talking to you and trying to show you what to do, although I know it doesn't always work. But when I'm on my own, in my own little zone, usually when the television's on, so there's something else happening around me, it's absolute joy. It's real peace. And, you know, then you look up and 4 hours has gone and it's, what? I haven't eaten anything for 4 hours. Where's my tea? But yeah, so when the fun stops, stop.
Dorothy says she likes doing illuminated calligraphy.
Oh, do you?
Anything with gold in favourite medium acrylics.
That's, I'm not sure what it is that you're doing at the minute, Dorothy. Is it a box? Is that the top of a box? It's, for the people that haven't seen it, go over to Miss Paintalot's art group and just go down a little bit till you come to Dorothy's post. It's absolutely beautiful. It's really one of the prettiest things ever. It's sort of a duck egg blue, and she's used a lot of those, I think they're Prima mouldings, that she's used with air dry clay and put them on the top in a really, really pretty way. And started now to paint them. Really excellent job, Dorothy. Can't say more about it. It's brilliant.
Female.
Das air dry clay?
Yeah, female, I think it's called.
I think that was a different thing, female. I don't know. Whatever. It's, yeah, it could well be female. Mr. Fixit's usually right. If Dorothy's on, can you let us know what you call that clay? That stuff that you do your moulds with, Dorothy, please. Right, so if that's going to be the size of my lady, then my lace can go down there. Just wondering whether to put lace all around my lady or not. No. 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 Nearly. She nearly had lace. I'm going to stick this on and then we'll worry about what's going behind her. So this is 151 clear glue, extra strong. I'm pretty sure Mr. Fixit would have got it from the pound shop, did you? Yeah. I've never used it. I haven't got a clue how you go on with it, or what it's like to go on with, should I say. I have to say this page is turning out pretty darn nice.
Oh, squeeze too hard.
Oh, it's quite full. I'm going to squeeze it onto the lace actually, rather than... I think the shaking's getting a wee bit better. Thank you, everybody who is concerned. I appreciate it. So let's see if this does actually stick things to things.
Rare.
No, thank you. Oh, I don't know. No, it'll be all right. So let's put that over there. looks like it's sticking it. I think it's sticking it. Sticking me. Oh, it's like a glue gun is blinking. The strings of it everywhere. Sorry guys, there's a bit like long strings of it. Right, so we just need to decide now.
It says DAS air dry clay.
Dorothy, DAS.
Yeah.
That's the white stuff with the red writing on.
Females baked in the oven to dry.
Right. Yeah, we had that. It's in a white pack with red writing on, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've got some somewhere.
Yeah, thought we might. Right, so the decision now really, guys and dolls, is what to put behind the lady. So we're going to show her off to the best that we can. Or shall we just put a paint effect behind her? I might just put a paint effect behind her actually once we've got her on. So ostensibly then, we can leave that to dry.
Stick a plain tissue down.
Yeah, no, I think we'll be all right with paint and inks and stuff because we haven't really got anywhere else to paint. I've rather dolled it up somewhat. So, do you think that'll dry by the time I've done her?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. Just leave it. All right then, folks. So, watercolor painting. It's a delight. You'll love it once you've worked out the basics of it. You'll absolutely love it. I'm looking for my little set of watercolor brushes, but I can't find them. Anyway, I've got. I bet you're sick of me doing this, aren't you? Because I'm sick of doing it myself. Right, I've got an teensy weensy tiny little brush, and still got glue on my fingers. Look. I bet that glue sticks because it sticks to everything else. And those of you that are familiar with the way that I work, I've transferred that with Sorel transfer paper. And you can draw her out. You can use a completely different image. You can photocopy this. I'll put a picture of that. And if you want to photocopy it, use the way that that's fine. And now, yeah. So these are the watercolors that I use, but only recently. Up until then, I had other watercolors, but these are my favorites du jour. They are the Derwent Inktense ones, which I just got on Sunday on my away day. There are two, they come in two different ranges. This is palette number 1, and there's the same thing, but it's palette number 2 with slightly different colours in. So the thing about watercolour is you need to get your colour wet. And I know that sounds obvious, but that is the case. So take some of your pigment out. Now, when we, with acrylics, if we're painting red and we actually want to make it a bit lighter, you add white to it. Easy. Pink and red and white makes pink. That's different with watercolour. With watercolour, you add more water. That's the way you get your pastel shades. And that's really the only thing you need to know. To be honest, there isn't much more to know. So I'm just putting out here 3 different dilutions of that pigment. Pure pigment, watered down pigment, and very watery pigment. So I'm going to start with the pigment itself. And I'm just going to start here, up the front there. And I've got quite a lot of pigment on there. Take it round and I'll come down to this one where there's very little pigment. And just follow the lines around. And you'll see that there's much less pigment there. Same thing here. More pigment down here. And you can just dip your brush into water and then just pull that pigment up. Pull it to where you want it. And there's just a little bit of darkness there where her shoulder comes in. So with the sleeve, the cuff is very dark. It's pure pigment actually. And then it's quite dark up here. And then more water. Run the pigment out, get water on your brush. And you see, because I took just a little time, it's taking just a minute to soften that pigment up again. So if you're working in conditions like this, which is quite warm, and I know Carol, etc., it's been very warm with you, just, don't hang around. That's the thing. Don't hang around. I'm doing her again in this yellow mango sort of colour. What do they call it? Mango. I must have read that before. But I don't know why really. I could have done her any colour. So I'm just putting a little bit of pigment in there. I'm going away. I'm getting some water. I'm just going to drag this pigment up to where it gets paler up here. So there you are, guys. I mean, that's basically, there's loads of blinking rules and ways of going on with watercolour like there is with every medium, but that is fundamentally the rules. Them's are the rules. And if you know that, you can plough on and really get somewhere with your watercolour. So as you come down here, it gets lighter. So just adding more and more water to our pigment. And stretch it down. Need a little bit more in there. There we are. This one's just got a little line up there of pigment. This is drying out actually. So there we are. There's no mystery to it. It's not difficult. It's kind of easy in actual fact. Don't worry about the surround lines. They will be taken care of in a moment when we finish this. This bit in the middle is quite dark, so it's pretty much pigment all the way. That's incredible how it's drying out. That is a bit too much pigment. There's this little sort of inverted pleat that she has there. And they've made a sort of feature of it in the pattern because obviously you're going to be making the dress, I think I'm doing this upside down. That's where the dark is. Put around her hand there. And just keep getting more water and bringing the pigment down with you. You might have to go back over it to soften it, particularly in warm conditions like this. But if you throw enough water at it, you will generally soften the pigment again. You'll be able to be off about where you want to take it. So, come on guys, how easy is this? It's pretty easy, isn't it? It's not like acrylics or anything else. It's just, straightforward. Thanks, Paula. Were you on when I mentioned you? I don't know. This is hello, Trish. The Paula that I'm talking to is Paula from Fairy Chic Emporium. If you pop over to her page, there's always loads going on, but particularly for arty folk, she is bringing out a range of art paints and supplementals like gesso. I'm not sure what else yet. As soon as I know, I will let you know. But it's of interest to us. I was just saying earlier that I've got my thing of gesso is Golden, the brand name Golden, which is way too expensive for this sort of thing. And I was sure when your gesso came out, Paula, it would be much more realistically priced. So I don't want to buy any more gesso until yours comes out, and then I can buy yours. Right, so it's just a shoes now to deal with. And I mean, this isn't a, totally realistic image, so don't get hung up on anything. But as I say, I'll take a photograph of this and I'll put it on my page. And then if you want to use mine rather than do your own, that's fine. Although I would really encourage you. Watercolours aren't expensive at all. They're really not. And even the cheap ones, well, you'll be able to use them. So, yeah, I mean, this 21 colour watercolour set was £1. It was £1. I haven't used them yet because I've used one similar to it, and they're fine. They're great. I mean, we're not doing fine art here. We're doing an art journal. It's great. So next time we're watercolouring, I'll use them and you can see how it goes. Right, so we need to get a bit of flesh colour going here. So it's a little bit of red into that yellow and then quite a bit of water. She's not a very ruddy girl. She's quite pale, in fact. So down her chest, down there. But yes, it's a deeply cut dress, isn't it, for its time, come to think of it. It's quite a seductress's dress. And the hand, she looks a bit like a claw presently, but I shall put some, help it along in a minute. And just her face.
So she's going to Home Bargains tomorrow and see what they have for £1.
Yeah, go to Home Bargains. Home Bargains isn't the best for pound stuff, though, is it? You need like Poundland or something like that. And there, I just wanted to add slightly more shading to one side of her neck than the other. So all I did was leave the first coat to dry, which is like split seconds, and go over it again with the exact same colour, and you just get, can you see that? Yeah, just get a bit more density to the colour.
So she's liking the look of how your watercolour is going on. Looks nice.
The watercolours, this Inkten stuff, I love Inktens. I love Inkten's pencils. I just love Inktens. You might have some tights on here, people. Legs might be a bit highly coloured. Or not. No, I think they're all right. Right, so now what we've got to do around this neck and along the sort of princess line waistband, there is, well, actually, I'll do that later on. I'm just going to put that in quite a dark colour and let it to dry. But do you all feel now that you could really approach watercolour? Yay or nay?
Jessica Kimberly says she looks lovely.
Thank you, Jessica.
And says, yay, there's a pound stretcher around here somewhere.
I don't think they're the best either, actually. They can be quite expensive at times, can't the pound stretcher? We've had to pay £2 and stuff. Places like the Range and In Excess and whatever, you've got to be careful what you pick up there because some of them can be quite not cheap. Right, so that's me finished with that. She's turned out not so bad, I don't think. I do. It's here. Unless you've got a thicker one than me. I've got a 0.3. If you have one, I'll have one of you. That's perfect.
You might have to check the colour.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to clean this off. You can tell that I'm still newfangled with it because I'm cleaning it. After I've used it a few times, it'll be when you open it and go, oh God, didn't clean that out. Thank you. You'll see also that with this little set of ink tins, there's, what is it, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 colours. There's a little sponge there to clean your brush. And it also comes with one of those water pens I was telling you about. You take the plug out, fill it up with water, screw that on, and you've got a nice little pen. So if ever you're doing any plein air stuff, painting outdoors, or, you know, painting on the sofa of an evening, would I do that? I think the right price of them is 23 quid, is it? Yeah. So they're not the cheapest of buys, but they're nice, what can I tell you? Right, so now we're moving in with the pen. That doesn't look any thicker than my pen. No, it's all right. Oh, it is thicker, but this is blacker. Thank you. So this is a Uni-Pin Fine Line Water and Fade Proof Pigment Ink. Recap after use. So we'll go through that again after use, then we'll have a recap. Right. I'm going to start with this bit down the front of a dress. And I'm just marking it in with this black pen. And the same around this bit under a bust. So there we are. So let's start at the top then. I'm finding if I keep my hand pressed down, I'm not as shaky as I am if I don't keep my hand pressed down. So I'll just pop her eyes in and the mouth, just, that's probably sufficient actually. It doesn't need any more than that. This is the shoulder. So this is when it all comes to life, really, I think. So this hand, it does look a bit claw-like, to be fair. It looks even more claw-like now. See if you can do better with your hand than I did. But I'm not worried, because I'm not worried today. It's such a difference when you get this black line in. Actually, I'm going to go over it twice, because the second one I want to be not exactly on the edge, so as it doesn't look like we were aiming for perfection, and sadly failed. No, I'm quite pleased with it actually, I think she's alright. These are more sort of concept shoes, I think, to go with the concept legs. Right, so she's looking loads better for having the black pen on. And now, as I say, I'm going to go over it or around it, should I say, once more, but not sticking strictly to the lines. Just, you know, almost there, but not quite. And we just lose that precision that we've been trying to get, but we're losing it in a arty manner. Yes, thank you.
If you're going to cut her out and stick her in your page.
I am going to cut her out. Well, I'm going to, like I did with this one, I'm going to paint a background on her and then cut it out. I'm not going to fussy cut her out. I'm just going to give her a background, cut her out, and then put her on my page. I'm going to leave a hand alone because it's really bad as it is. It doesn't look great on the original, to be fair. Okay, I think she's done. So I like that sort of untidy kind of finish to her, if you like. She just looks a bit more interesting. I think her eyes maybe could do with a bit of detail.
Like a sketch.
Yeah, she looks more like a sketch, like a fashion sketch that, you know, well, if you look online at fashion drawings or whatever, they do have that kind of sketchy type appearance to them, which I really like. So, okay, is she dry? Yeah, she's dry. So we can put that blooming glue. I tell you, it's everywhere. Let's put a background on her. What sort of background should we put on it to sit well with our page? Is it dry, please? Can I have a look? What sort of colour? What time is it anyway? Oh, look at the time. You guys should have said something. I've been holding you for far too long. I'm sorry. I don't know. She looks nice like that. Bobby, what are you barking at? Right, look, I'm really sorry that I kept you for so long. It was only ever meant to be an hour, just show you this, show you that, whatever. This is what we've achieved. We've achieved this, we've achieved this, lady, and I know that you can all achieve that. You know, most of this is decoupage. There's a lot of decoupaging on top of other decoupaging, so it's not really crystal clear. It's looking good. I'm really quite pleased with it. Do you like it? Yeah. Well,
Carol says we're enjoying ourselves.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really nice of you. But, you know, for everybody else, Carol, I think I'm going to call it a day at that. I really could go on and on and on because, you know, it would be excellent. But I'll put a background on her and I won't do anything else. So when you come back, should we come back tomorrow? Should we come back tomorrow? Saturday? Is that all right with everyone? If we come back tomorrow, send some hearts if it is. Oh, hearts. Okay, 4 o'clock tomorrow. I'll be here and we'll get this spread finished. In the meantime, I will start on my other sketchbook because I kind of want to show you different ways that we could have gone with this if we'd wanted. How nice is that scrumbled up tissue paper there? That's the highlight of the thing, isn't it? All right, guys, really, really thank you so much for sticking with me. Honestly, just such a load of troopers. And I feel so much support from you. I can't tell you. It's really, oh, so good. Thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.